This is Twit.
Should we start with the new Microsoft Edge? It's here. Get used to it. How's it different than Chrome?
Chredge? You mean Chredge? We're just going to keep calling it Chredge because Microsoft hates us to call it that. So we're just going to keep going.
Chredge.
Yeah, Chredge.
I guess it's better than EOM.
I just call it the new Edge.
Edge-EM.
And now the other Edge is Classic Edge.
Oh.
You know, like Classic
really?
Coke and New Coke.
Oh. Mm-hmm. That's not bad.
Yeah.
So this was killing us. I think we knew about this last week during Windows Weekly, but we couldn't tell anyone. We were under NDA on this. But we knew that Microsoft on Monday was going to release the Canary and Dev builds of the Chromium-based Edge publicly on Monday, which did happen. The first ones are for 64-bit Windows 10 only. Although, you know what? A couple people said to me they thought it would work on Windows 7. I didn't try it, but it might. And Windows 8.1. Because Windows 7, Windows 8.1, and the Mac are all also going to get these test builds at some point in the future, but we don't know exactly when. What else?
Mary Jo,
both
could I say the most notable thing about this?
Yes, please.
It's that you are using it.
I am. Yep, I am
Mary
using
Jo
it because
is a Chredge
I know
user.
I never use test stuff. I don't. Paul actually said to me on Twitter, "You're an Edge insider," and that kind of caught me off guard a bit. But I am, I guess. And so the first thing I did was I put it on my Windows 10 laptop, and then I put it on the Surface Go, because to me the Surface Go is the real test of this thing. I had to get out of 10 in S mode on my Go because Edge was really terrible. It was. I use TweetDeck a lot, and TweetDeck is a very JavaScript-heavy site, and it totally just got borked with the old Edge. The new Edge, it seems to be working like it does in Chrome. How about that?
Is it faster than Chrome?
Well,
I don't think we can tell, can we?
No, it's not. I can tell because I've been using it for about 10 days, and I can assure you. Yeah. I mean, I'll look at it right now.
It's not
One of the things,
slower, is it?
It's not. It's Chrome. It's the same as Chrome, is the way to say it. So if you were, there's a weird little subset of people who kind of overthink this stuff, and they look at Task Manager and they see how many, tabs and, whatever are being used and how much memory. Yeah. And Chrome is usually kind of up there. I take more of a middle of the road. Like, look, the Windows knows how to handle memory management. If it needs it, it'll take it away from Chrome, whatever. But like right now, actually, it's funny. They changed it since yesterday. Look at this. Hold on, I got to put this in.
It's the Canary build. You're on the Canary, right?
Yeah. So it's interesting. Okay. So I have, let's see, I have 5 tabs open. That means there's like 17 Edge processes taking up over a gigabyte of RAM all by itself, more than everything else by far. In fact, more than everything else combined, as it turns out. And that's how Chrome works. That's Chrome, and that's what happens. And I think what we're suffering from here is the new car condition, where you're you get the new car and it's all tight, it runs great, and everything's wonderful, and because we haven't installed the extensions, we haven't been running it for a while. We're not loading it up with tabs yet. I mean, it's out of the gate, it's great. But so Chrome is great out of the gate too. And then you sign into your account, and all your extensions come down, and everything syncs over, and then everything changes a little bit. So to me, it's Chrome.
Plus, we should point out these first test builds, they're not really optimized for things people are looking for, right? Like smooth scrolling's not there, the PDF support, the tab sweep, all those things people are like, so it's not Edge. It doesn't have all that stuff. Those are all coming, but this is just a really early test build, right?
Yeah, actually, we should kind of highlight something here, because Microsoft has provided a list of some of the things it intends to add. And it has said, look, we want your feedback. If there are Edge features you want, we want to hear about it. I am of the belief that there are certain Edge features they will never bring over, and they don't ever intend to bring over regardless of feedback. And some of it might just have to do with, I'm just going to make up an example because I kind of have to. There are because I don't know which features aren't coming, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is, when you look at something like Chromium and what you can do to Chromium, it may not be worth the effort to recreate certain features if so few people actually use them. So even though you might get 100 people in the feedback hub who say they really want it, they know from telemetry that in the real world, only some tiny percentage of Edge users even use that feature. And so it may not make sense to bring that over. So that might be some of the tab management functionality that's available in Edge today. It might be some of the reading view stuff with regards to annotating and learning tools. And there's all this stuff in Edge. It's actually kind of feature packed, so we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I just, I caution people to assume that everything from Edge is going to come over to this new version of Edge, right? I don't think everything is going to come.
Right.
So you said you're using the Canary. You're using the Canary build. There's the Canary and the Developer. Which one?
I'm using Developer.
You're using Developer. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the difference?
Because Developer only gets updated once a week. So for me, that's plenty. I don't need to have it every day.
Yeah, and actually, it was funny. The first 24 hours, I was like, this thing really didn't. I'm looking now to see what it does. It didn't really have any notion that it had updated. Like, I could tell the version number was the same, et cetera. Actually, you get a little green kind of sync icon up in the corner that indicates it needs to be updated. If you go to About, it will say, actually, it says it right now, to finish updating, restart Microsoft Edge. Should I do this? Why not? So yeah, it has in fact updated on roughly a 24-hour schedule. And yes, it's literally the version number went from 75.0.124 to .125 is what's happened here. So
there's going to be a beta channel for this thing too, probably this summer. And that's when Microsoft's suggesting IT people and other people who typically would kick the tires of something jump in, because then it'll have more features and it'll be more ready to test some of the enterprise features that aren't there right now. But that beta build, that's not even available for anybody, not even for Windows 10 so far.
Right. And that will differ from the other two in that it will be updated every 6 weeks, which I think is the schedule. Is it 6 weeks? I think that might be the schedule for Chrome major versions. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, the other interesting thing that we found out this week, and I thought this was really, really interesting. So a lot of people say, so here's this Chromium-based Edge. It's basically Chrome, right? Like it's not really different. Well, the Walking Cat found, our friend on Twitter, Walking Cat, found a presentation from a conference happening this week called BlinkOn. And this is a presentation from someone at Microsoft who's a distinguished engineer. And he has a slide in this deck that says, here are the services we replaced or turned off from Chromium in building Edge. There's 50 plus services. Like there's a ton of them. And they're replacing a lot of these with their own. If I could do the wet blanket thing again real quick. A lot of people will see that and say, well, see, it's going to be a lot faster because that stuff's not in there. And actually, we don't know that.
Microsoft's going to replace a lot of that with their own services.
They are. Yeah.
A lot of the Google services have been running in Chrome for a long time and are actually probably pretty efficient. And Microsoft's going to add other stuff that isn't in there. So we don't really know, how this will impact things. But the one thing I will say about this that I think is important is that this speaks to the belief that Microsoft can change Chromium a lot. And a lot of people were worried about that, right? And if your concern is, I really want to use Chrome, but I don't want the Google tracking stuff, this might be a really good option for you, because if you look through this list, it's like, interesting. So.
Well, ad blocking is one of the things on this list, right?
Well, but Google ad blocking is fake, right? Or it's not completely fake, but it's designed really just to block ads that don't meet the requirements of an ad sort of pseudo standard of which Google is part of. I mean, obviously, is the biggest advertiser on the internet, so. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that too much.
That's true. No, but some of these are very specific to Google, like Google Pay, Google Now, Google Messaging. Then some of them are more generic, but if you think about it, like spell check, Microsoft has its own spell check and web store, so a lot of these are like a one-for-one kind of transfer. And some of them you think, well, they might not replace a few of these at all, and they may just leave them.
Yeah, so that's true. I mean, actually, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's all I was going to say. So we don't, like you just said, we don't know what this is doing to performance or how ultimately it'll affect how much memory is used. We don't know any of that. This is just an interesting note. Here are the services that they turned off.
Yeah.